Yeah, okay. Thank you. So we're going to call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, we do roll call, please.
Yes, Director Sailors,
Present.
Director Gould,
Here.
Director Stark,
Here.
Director Weber,
Here.
Director Costa,
Here.
Director Jones.
Here.
President Wood is absent this evening and he let us know ahead of time. Directors, I have two directors on standby on Zoom. One of them is Director Clark.
Here,
Go ahead.
here, present.
You need to state your general.
I'm not able to attend the meeting because I have a medical condition right now.
Okay, and is there anyone?
There's no one over 18 years old present, just me.
Okay, thank you so much. And Director Rice.
Rice is here. I have a family medical issue and there's no one under 18 in attendance with me or over 18.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Or maybe John, that's required now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, this country's going. to
Now,
hell.
this is,
That's fine.
okay,
I just,
yeah,
it's so disturbing.
they have, each elected official has 2 times during the fiscal year to use the teleconferencing without going through the normal procedures where we post an agenda where the member would be and the address and all of that. They can do it twice in 1 year or unlimited number of times for medical emergencies, as long as the board by majority vote approves of the appearance by teleconferencing. So what happened here is, on my advice, actually, the teleconferencing is allowed just by their statement saying that, I can't be here and there's nobody else over 18 present with me. And so that's why that happened. So they're able to participate in the meeting and vote as if they were here.
So really quick though. So we've got a quorum. We've got 2 online. Okay. Can we take one more question? I think there's one more question.
Yeah, just the part about the over 18, under 18, what's the rule there?
That's set forth in the statute. And to be honest with you, Director, I don't know why the legislature put that in. It's just a 1-line requirement in the code. So the thinking of the legislature, I'm not sure about, but it's there.
Learning opportunity for all of us. All right.
I don't understand. Is it no one else can be in the room or only over 18 can be?
Just have to
or under? I
disclose.
don't understand.
No, other people can be in the room over 18. He just has to identify who's there with him if they're over 18.
Oh, I got you.
You just need to. All right. Thank you very much. So let's go to the pledge of the flag. Director Jones.
Join me. I pledge allegiance to
To the flag of the United States,
America, to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director Jones. All right. Metro Cable announcement. So this meeting for the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District is recorded. All information relative to the recording is in the agenda. So at this point, we'll go to public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within the district's jurisdiction, including items on or not on the agenda. Do we have any speakers?
I have no speaker cards. Is there anyone in the room wishing to speak? And online, if you wish to make a public comment, please use the raise your hand feature.
All right, no speakers? All right, no public comment. Thank you. So we'll go to consent items.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we adopt consent.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Gould,
Aye.
Director Stark,
Aye.
Director Clark,
aye,
Director Rice,
Aye.
Director Jones,
Aye.
Director Weber,
Aye.
Director Costa.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right, thank you. So that takes us to presentation items. Our first presentation on the strategic planning capital improvement projects. Jeff Fry, Chief Development Officer. Welcome.
Typically what we would do with the CIP, we would bring an initial list to the board and show it to you in its totality. Aaron usually does that presentation. Because of Measure O, because of a request from the membership, we are going to drill down into 2 major groups today. To to tell you a little bit about the projects. And then this will be the basis for how we communicate a number of ways. So jumping straight into the presentation. Think. Here we go. So a lot of context here, CIP requests come in. We don't usually talk about some of the details. The details are going to be important now with Measure O, not only for the board awareness, but also preparation for the oversight committee. This gives me a chance to practice some of our narrative and explaining how we get from service delivery to budget. And then again, we did promise a list to the members. We're mostly there. There are some details we need to work out, but we feel comfortable enough to give this information to the board and to them as well. So Aaron is going to give you a much bigger presentation with the entire ask. The majority of our focus when we went out for Measure O, and I think I was standing about here a year ago saying, we have two pieces of our service delivery that are about ready to break. And I started with the fleet. So we're going to do a deeper dive into all the fleet projects, what we do in the background with Shay, and then how it leads up to the presentation the board usually receives. And then I will do something similar for the real estate projects. Okay, so every year we go through a process. I think we usually start in January. It's quite intensive. And going through our entire apparatus fleet inventory, it is arranged by apparatus type. Shay goes through and updates all the vehicles, vehicles coming in, vehicles that we've sold, age, mileage, just updating the entire fleet. So we have the most and best, greatest information. We then update what we call the procurement schedule. So we are trying to time when a piece of apparatus is going to time out. And then now the big challenge has been trying to understand lead times. So if you can imagine, we know our fleet is timing out in regular intervals. We can look 5 years out to know when those vehicles are going to time out, but we also have to take into 2 to 5 year lead times and figure out how to build that into this inventory. So we try to add that next element. So we just continue to refine how we do this process and get better. We did build in the lead times into our spreadsheets this year to better anticipate when we're going to get these vehicles. And then the third component here is understanding the acquisition costs and inflation factors. If we are looking 5 and 10 years out, we do have to make some pretty broad assumptions here, but this is all the information that we use to build the replacement schedule. I'm going to show you the replacement schedule. This is just something that usually support services and fleet managers and we use to prepare the forms. But in this case, I think it's important to show you. And it's really small here, but this is what we look at. So this looks at all of those things I told you. It's every vehicle by type, the year we need it, how many, and then the total cost looking out for 5 years. So here comes the fun part of this conversation. We have a full 10-year plan to clear all the deferred replacement vehicles that go back, as I understand it, almost since the beginning of, I'm looking for Shay. Yeah. So last couple of years, we've just been doing what we absolutely have to. It's going to take us the full 10 years to fix the replacement schedule. It's going to take us 5 years just to figure out how to make sense of it. And then you can see in year one is double the other years just simply because we have that much apparatus we have to buy. So I tell you all that to say it's going to take us 5 years just to get to something that we understand. And then we fully anticipate that we will clean this up and get this on order or on record in the last 5 years. So we are going to ask the board, and you see the last bullet point there, fleet is utilizing guaranteed funding to negotiate better prices and reduce delivery times. So when we come to the board with the bond issuance, we will be relying on that to make guarantees so Shay can speed up this process quite a bit. So this is where we're at. It is, like I said, we absolutely need to do this to keep running the 911 calls and keep our responses to where we need them. So I will pause here.
Yep. Thank you. I
And
was
ask
just
for
gonna ask that.
questions?
Yeah. Any questions? Director?
So are we buying a water tender every single year now? I couldn't hear you.
Come on up.
He's coming.
Right, really hard to stay away from this podium and talk them into doing this. Until the water tender replacement schedule is caught up, yeah. So there's one a year for the first few years.
And how many do we have right now?
There are 6.
Yes, Director.
Show you this last bullet, guaranteed funding also means then guaranteed delivery.
That's the leverage that we're using. So we've already cut the 4-year lead time on Pierce's down to 3.
Okay.
We've been able to secure discounts. So our ambulances were discounted $1,200 per car when you do multi-orders. Now they're looking at $5,000 a car. We're going to do whatever we can to get the best delivery and pricing.
Okay.
More than that too, we want to try and get them so that they come not with a lead time, but every January we get X. Every June we get X and on into perpetuity. The real challenge for fleet is going to be when these start coming into play, half my shop is going to be not working on rigs to keep them on the road, but trying to get these things outfitted. So we didn't want them to all land at the same time, not just fleet, comms is going to get nailed too. So that's the other part.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question, I believe, online from Director Rice.
Answered, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Director. Yes.
To what extent were we able to lock the prices? Because with the tariffs and inflation and all that, is there some kind of mechanism built in at all?
It's they're all still under negotiation, so I don't want to blow anything out of the water there. Nobody is willing to guarantee set pricing, but more cost caps, percentage of increases rather than amount of increases, and it's different with every vendor. Yeah, we'll see. We're looking at, if we do this plan, we're looking at like spending 75 million with a particular vendor, and that's quite a lever to lean.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Director.
What is a ramp engine?
Currently, that's an F-650 with a Purple K system in the back pulling a foam trailer. It's, we're not even sure if it's necessary in our footprint plan. It's something that's being negotiated right now. It exists today as part of the Coast Guard response contract. But yeah, that's basically a very glorified tow vehicle with a dry chemical extinguish system in the back. Very, very old. 2001.
All right, any other questions for Shay? All right, Jeff, I have a question for you. So just to clarify, so it's going to take us about 5 years to kind of get through this process to really have a good understanding where we're going. It'll take 10 years to replace everything we have. So what happens in year 11?
As we like to say, that's a year 11 problem.
Okay. But part of this process will prepare us for year 11.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right.
Okay, so the second major component is the real estate projects. This has a number of steps, and I think it's worth conversation. We have a lot of real estate issues. Let me just say that. It well exceeds the $450 million. So we do go through a process to figure out what is the so-called best bang for the buck. And that's where we want to start with how we structure these projects. To do that, I use 3 pieces of information. It's the service delivery team recommendations that we've gone through with the team last several months. We also use the facility condition assessments and the funding sources. So I'll walk you all through those components. From the service delivery team, we are trying to answer a couple of questions, specifically from the standard of cover. Can the right resources be assembled to meet response times standards for all risk types? And I think this was Director Rice's point last time when we met, is risk has to drive the location and the response time. So we've had the team evaluate that. We've also talked about as we transition from a rural environment to that metropolitan environment, people drive calls, need more people, more apparatus, more things. And we have not done, you've heard me say this many times, we have not done a great job of keeping up with the population densities and growth, especially north of the river. So do we now need more capacity? And the answer is yes. That was also a big part of the Measure O campaign is we need to sustain our 911 response times. And then finally, from the service delivery team, from their recommendations, if we need medics in the Antelope, North Highlands area, can we place them there? No. So do we need to consider that in what our stations need to be built and be able to accommodate those additional services? So all of that is included in the service delivery team recommendation. Moving on to the facility condition assessments, if the directors remember, 2018, I believe, we did an assessment of all of our stations and looked at what we call the facility condition assessment, and it's an index, and it looked at two things. What is the cost of needed repairs to keep that station up to standard? And it's divided by the value. So quite literally, if it's a percentage of the value of the total building, the more expensive it gets to maintain it, the more it doesn't make sense to keep the building. You tear it down, you start over. So that number gets 60% is when we start looking at substantial renovations and replacements. The need index adds one more piece, and we called it modernization. And this really gets into like firefighter exposures, having gyms and nap bays and those kind of things. What does it take to get to the best standard? That was also considered against the replacement values, and it's also evaluated on a similar scale. And I do call out the modernization piece here separately because I think it's important, and we've talked about it a lot, is are there known environmental and safety risks? And then do we have the right bedroom and bathroom configuration to accommodate the firefighters? So this is a little spreadsheet that I created to take into account all, like I said, huge real estate need. We're not going to get to it all. We need to find the best bang for the buck to start with here. I think, and then from my perspective, from administering these projects, we want to package them together as much as we can to minimize cost of project management and those type of things. So Station 42, the 112 replacement, 6123, these are all stations that have been on the Metro Fires list for 20 plus years. We just haven't had ability to get to it or the dollars amount. It checks a lot of boxes, and you can see there some of the replacement schedule in the facility condition index, especially when it comes to modernization. To repair what's existing is actually would cost 4.5 times what the building is worth. It just doesn't make sense. We do have the Zinfandel Phase 4 built in between the two packages there. Excited to get to work. I think that is going to take some work with the membership and our experts to really get a sense of what is the best of training and collecting all that input so we can give that to the developer. So we want to get the stations up and running and then do the groundwork with the membership to get the input for Zinfandel. And then moving on to package 2 later on down the road. Those particular stations are also very well needed. They have just additional complications with the need to acquire land and other technical studies. So this is our preferred approach. And again, with general comments here, we will start to circulate this a little bit more. We are still working on timing, and that has everything to do with the bond financing and how all the rules work on the backside of how and when dollars have to be spent. So with that, I will take questions about the real estate piece.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Any questions from the board? All right. Looks good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, gentlemen.
All right, we'll move on to our second presentation, Capital Improvement Program Update. Erin Castleberry. Good evening.
Hello, everyone. We're going to check to make sure this is actually on. I don't know. It is on. Sorry, I got a text message that said, check to make sure it's actually on. Yes, it is. All right. So I am here tonight. As you know, every year, once we complete the compilation process of all of the projects that have been submitted, we bring a presentation to the board to show what projects were submitted and what the 5-year projection on the capital improvement plan is. I want to be clear from the beginning of this, we are still very much in this process. It's part of our annual planning process and part of our annual budgeting process. So this is simply to demonstrate what was submitted. There's been no decisions around this yet. So you'll get another presentation in May and June about the actual plan that we'd like you to adopt. So as you know, the purpose of our CIP is to plan for all of our capital needs in order to support the physical infrastructure of the district. You guys are familiar with this slide. We take all of our master planning documents and bring those capital needs into the plan for evaluation and prioritization prior to our budgeting process. You can see here the different plans that we use. So division managers are responsible for submitting capital projects on behalf of their division. Also this year, for the first time, the service delivery team also made recommendations that we folded in as projects to the CIP related to apparatus requests. And as Jeff mentioned, some of these station projects are related to service delivery recommendations. So those are broken up into a 5-year look, as well as just a 1-year request. So as you know, when we bring this to the board in June, we are asking for an authorization for a 1-year budget related to CIP. And then we also provide the 5-year look ahead for projection. Those forms are all validated. We go back and forth with the managers, get any additional information we need. The committee, the CIP committee, reviews all of those requests and kind of evaluates them and prioritizes them. We actually had that meeting today. So we're moving forward there and starting to put the plan together. That'll go to the executive team for review. Some of the CIP requests are also related to either position requests or other budget requests. They're directly tied. So those will all be evaluated as part of the budget and with labor management and all of that. So if it gets approved in one spot, it would have to be approved in the other spot, sort of thing. So all of that will be closely coordinated. And then we'll bring that recommendation to the board in June. So we're going to do a quick recap of last year's projects. So 29 projects were authorized for fiscal year 24-25 with total project costs of just over $53 million. These projects included 20 new projects totaling nearly $14.6 million, as well as 9 projects that were authorized in a prior fiscal year, but just not complete yet, totaling over $38 million. Of those 29 authorized projects, 18 are already complete or anticipated for completion by the end of the fiscal year. And we anticipate that 11 projects indicated here in yellow will be carrying over into the new fiscal year. And these basically are apparatus projects that have been ordered but not yet delivered, and ongoing construction projects that are continuing on. Of the $53 million in total project costs, an estimated $10.5 million was going to be expended in the current fiscal year, and $42 million will carry over. And like I said, those are the big dollars in fleet and facility projects. So the CIP, as you know, is made up of a 1-year capital outlay plan as well as a 5-year projection. the projects submitted for this year reflect a 350 million request for the next 5 years, which includes the 11 previously authorized projects in progress and 73 new project requests over the next 5 years. And you can see the breakdown by project type here. So as you see, those new construction projects make up a majority of the 5-year ask, or the 5-year projection, over 200 million. 36% in apparatus and equipment replacement and acquisition projects, 3% in personal protective equipment projects, 2% land acquisition, and a smaller percent for facilities maintenance and enhancement projects. So how does this compare to, 59 of these projects are brand new for this next year. There are 59 proposed to start in fiscal year 25-26. So of the 73 in the 5-year total, 59 of them are for 25-26, with a total request of 119.7 million. So you can see that breakdown here. As Jeff mentioned, we're proposing 4 major construction projects, so that makes up a majority of the ask here. And then second is fleet, as you saw on that spreadsheet.
So I have a quick question.
Yes,
I just want to make sure I got this right. So we got 119.7 million of new requests plus the carryover. Is that right?
correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure I was following. Thank you.
Yep. So how does this compare to last year? You can see we had an increase in the total number of projects requested, more apparatus and equipment, more facility maintenance and enhancement. PPE actually went down, new construction, a lot more, land acquisition remained flat, and we didn't have any miscellaneous projects that didn't fall in one of those other categories. As far as dollars, you can see we're nearly double the amount that was requested last fiscal year, which you would anticipate now that we have additional funding sources available to us. A large majority of that, the biggest increase, was in the new construction projects, as you can see. So we're going to kind of break down these by project type a little. Apparatus and equipment make up the second largest portion, as I said, totaling 38.3 million. This is broken up into replacement projects and new acquisition projects. So new acquisition means we are adding these to our fleet. They are not replacing something that's already in our fleet, or equipment. So you can see we have 34 million just in replacement projects, and then 4.3 million proposed for new acquisition. Next, new construction projects made up the largest share. As you can see, we have 4 proposed here. And facilities maintenance and enhancement projects totaled about 3.6 million. And those are broken up into maintenance projects as well as enhancement projects. Personal protective equipment, also 3.6 million. Broken up between, again, replacement projects and new acquisition, meaning we don't currently have these things, or they're in addition to what we already have. So the projects, as I said, were reviewed today by the committee. So we're putting a plan together for budget review. And we anticipate that the financing plan related to that plan will be prepared over the next few weeks in preparation of bringing all of this to the executive team in May for review as part of the larger budget preparation process. That will then be brought to the Finance and Audit Committee for review in May, second meeting in May, and then back to the board for full adoption and approval the first meeting in June. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have related to the CIP.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? All right. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, that takes us to reports. There is no president's report tonight. So that takes us to the fire chief.
Good evening, directors, colleagues, members of the public. I want to start off with Director Rice asked a question and inquired about the use of ring cameras and body worn cameras within the district. I've confirmed that Metro Fire does not currently have a policy on body worn or ring cameras, nor has the district requested body worn camera footage. Leslie Miller, I believe the policy committee is looking into what a policy would look like for the future. So I hope Chief Rice, that answers your question, or Director Rice, that answers your question. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have on that.
Thank you, Chief House.
And then the last two, I just real quick for acknowledgements, our members continue to do just phenomenal things. And I'm really proud to let you know that Frontline First has awarded Captain Ryan Manfredi on April 5th the 2024 Frontline First Meritorious Service Award for his outstanding leadership of our peer support program. And you know how valuable that is for all of our members. So he was nominated and received that award. So congratulations to Captain Manfredi. And I look forward to his efforts in one of the new safety captain positions in our new wellness division. And I think you remember last year I reported out for the 2023 California EMS Awards. Chief Perryman was a recipient. I'm super proud to report out for the 2024 California EMS Awards that two of our members have received these awards. The first one is Assistant Chief John Renicky, who received his Distinguished Service Medal for leading EMS improvements, including reducing ambulance offload times and BLS tiered response model and countywide protocol updates. And the second one is firefighter Barry Chris Lloyd, who has been named Paramedic of the Year. And this is the state award, not the local award. Paramedic of the Year for his exceptional clinical care, life-saving actions during a critical trauma call, and years of service as a mentor and instructors. So congratulations on behalf of Metro Fire. You made us all proud, Chief John Renicky and firefighter Barry Chris Lloyd. And that's the end of my report, unless you have any questions for me.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the chief? All right. Thank you, Chief. All right. That takes us to operations. Chief Mitchell.
Thank you, Director Costa. Good evening, board members, Chief House, colleagues, and members of the public. We're going to hear some more from the Shift Commander Spotlight about some more of the awesome things that our members do. But before we do that, I would like to surprise somebody. There are some benchmarks that we reach in our career that are pretty substantial. Obviously, putting a lot of years of service into helping our community is a noble thing to do. And I'm incredibly humbled to stand before you here tonight to recognize one of those members who's reached a substantial benchmark in their career. 1,950, since it's the 10th, 10,959 days ago was April 1st, 1995. And it was Metro Fire's honor to be able to hire one of our members that's in the room tonight. He's sitting back there. He's just starting to grin because I think he's figuring out. Assistant Chief Kylie Keeley joined us April 1st, 1995. And so it's my pleasure tonight to bring Chief Keeley up. I think he maybe thought I forgot, or maybe we forgot, maybe not. But Chief Keeley, if you would come on up here in the front, please, I'd love to present you with your 30-year pin.
Few words.
Sure, put me on the spot. Yeah, April Fools was my date of hire, and I was not sure that we were going to have an academy until we showed up, and there was a handful of other recruits there. It was at Station 106, which was known as Station 6 back then, upstairs, and it's been the honor of my life to serve at Metro Fire, American River to start, but Metro Fire as a successor agency. I've worked every rank along the way. I've spent many years in each rank, and it's been an incredible experience, and I look forward to what the remainder of the year looks like for me. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations.
A lot of great stuff today. Thanks, Chief Keeley. So next I would like, see, is Chief Wilborn here? Chief Wilborn's working as our out-of-class shift commander today, so he's going to come up to present the shift commander spotlight. However, before he gets here, he doesn't know this either necessarily. On Monday evening, I received a phone call from the El Dorado Hills Fire Chief asking me if we had a PIO or former PIO that lives in the area. And I said, we probably do. And he went on to tell me that they had an incident that day at Browns Ravine up by Folsom Lake that was a full arrest. And there was a member of the public and one of our Metro members performed CPR and was able to get Rosk back before that gentleman arrived at the hospital. I did see a text message allowing the family of that gentleman to make it to the hospital. It wasn't a positive outcome in that he didn't make it, but it was allowing the family members to get there to say goodbye to their loved one. And so I would also like to tell Chief Wilborn, on or off duty, as their members do many times, thank you for representing Metro Fire well. I know you didn't necessarily want the accolades, but great job in stepping up when the time was needed to perform CPR off duty. So Chief Wilborn, nice job. Now I'll allow the shift commander spotlight.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board of Directors, Fire Chief. I'm going to have Battalion 13 and the 29 crews come up. And tonight we're going to talk about firefighter Asher Smith, I'm sorry. The Citizens Academy just concluded, and the community engagement is obviously near and dear to my heart. For the past 10 or so weeks, members of the community had come together here and heard from just about all of our divisions, from the fire chief all the way down. And this was a huge opportunity for those individuals to get a glimpse of Metro Fire, what we are, who we are, what we provide, and educate them about all of those things. They also had the ability to go to the firehouse and do ride-alongs. And they had task books, they had things to do, objectives, and they went to those firehouses. And one of those members that they were greeted by was Firefighter Smith. And Firefighter Smith did an outstanding job of going above and beyond with that community member to show them, to teach them, to give them a glimpse, not only for what they learned in the classroom, but taking those pieces and putting them into the firehouse, taking them on calls to be able to see what we do firsthand. So I'm going to turn it over to Battalion Chief Jason Vestal to talk a little bit more about Firefighter Smith, and we'll move forward.
Good evening, Board. Chief Mitchell, Chief House, thanks for having the crews out here again. So Asher Smith here, he's a probationary firefighter, about 4 months. Yeah, 4 months, right? Into the job here. He spent some time in South Africa, right? He spent some time growing up there with his family. They moved there when he was young. And part of one of the things that he did there was he was a surf rescue swimmer as he grew up. And, you know, we went out to Chief House's kind of with other deputies, take him out to lunch. That's part of this acknowledgement. And he just kind of give us a little background on what his history was and kind of a service-based, you know, history growing up and, you know, helping out his community. And that was one of the things that he wanted to, you know, carry forth as a firefighter. So he's ended up here, right? So I'm actually on B shift. These guys here on A shift, and as a battalion chief, we live in the station with them. I've had the privilege many years of living alongside these guys, sometimes on B shift, sometimes on A shift. But over the last 4 months, I've really noticed Firefighter Asher. His initiative, his spirit is really a reflection of our agency, but also the crew that he works with. His commitment And what he did as part of that Citizens Academy is really exemplifies where we're headed, where we came from, and the crew that he works with. So I'll let Captain Weitzel say a few words real quick. It's his firefighter. So sorry to put you on the spot here, Neil, but I'll stand right next to you. I'll hold your hand, buddy.
Liar.
I wish Asher something we could take credit for, but we can't. I can't say enough good things about him. He's one of the most genuine people you're going to meet. His commitment to his patients and his crew and his work ethic are just incredible. He's an amazing young man, and I'm super proud and lucky to have him in our station.
All right, your turn.
Jeez.
I'm very nervous right now, so I'll try my best to keep my composure. I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity, Chief House, Chief Mitchell. I feel like they said this earlier, I feel like I was just doing my job and representing Metro Fire to the public. I saw it was a good opportunity to show them what we do and to give them, behind the scenes of all the different working parts. And I know I didn't come from any family in the fire service. I knew nothing. So just being able to spend that time and just make sure I stay diligent and hit every single point on her task book to make sure that she was aware of how Metro Fire works and just that we're ready to serve the public, and we want to serve the public. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So special thanks to Chief Barthel, April West that put the Citizens Academy on. It's been the Firefighter Smith Day. Chief House and Chief Mitchell and some of the other folks went out to the fire station, took him to lunch. Chief Barthel actually hopped on the medic to run some calls. So job well done. Oh, you got a code too? Okay. Well, they said, sounds like they might've saved a life. I don't know. So good stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief Wilborn.
So we want to recognize when our folks do right and show what right looks like. And obviously with Firefighter Smith and his young career, the words that were used by the member from the Citizens Academy were your words on the wall about your core values and who Metro Fire is and living the Metro way were exemplified exponentially by this young firefighter. And so when we heard that from her, we decided this is worthy of some recognition, but I also don't want to take away, I know you're being humble, Captain Weitzel, it's a recognition for their crew as well. So we're in good hands. Metro Fire is a great organization and we're in good hands for a long time to come. So with that ends the operations report unless there's any questions.
Any questions?
Applause for all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is this going to be the new thing where they bring probationary firefighters in front of the board? All these brass badges are like, that's no big deal. Guy's about ready to pass out. Yeah. Congratulations, guys.
Nice work. And thank you for continuing to bring this great work to the board so we can see the actions. Thank you, Chief. All right. So it's my understanding we don't have administrative report or support services report tonight. So that takes us to local 522 report. BC Matt Cole, Director of 522. He's coming. Yeah. I think Bob, we gotta go
Thank
carry
you
him.
for your report. Okay. Doesn't he have a time limit of where he has to be? He's got 2 minutes. 2 minutes? That's close.
Good evening.
Good evening, Board, Chief, member of the public, and everybody in the crowd. Thanks for bearing with me for a second. So first off, Sean Scollard is not here to give the report today because he is at the remembrance for Lucas Shepard, the individual who lost his life, who was the fire marshal and deputy chief up the hill. And Sean and his family are very close, live on the same street as Lucas and his family. So Sean is there at the remembrance. So glad he's representing us up there. I'm sure it's a hard time and you're stuck with me real quick. So I'm going to try to make it relatively brief. I have some notes that got sent to me and I may cover them all or not, but I really just I want to thank the board. I know a number of you have spent time in the firehouses since last board meeting. You've also spent some time with me, Sean, Trevor, and other members. And so what I'd like to speak to is last board meeting, there was a lot of focus on collaboration, and we really appreciate that. And what came out of us spending some time with many of you is there's some suggestions on sharing what that means to the community who may be watching, because it's not just about keeping 1 or 2, 3 knuckleheads who may be leading negotiations coming up, but really working with the men and women who commit 30+ years of their life to this community and protecting it. And so in that, there was some suggestions maybe to share some of the things we're working on in brevity here and maybe lead into a presentation. So just in response to that, I'm just going to hit some high level stuff, focusing on the local efforts that 522 puts in. We just had a presentation on what our capital lift looks like and the tools that we're going to have to address that, because the community entrusted us when we asked for support for Measure O. So that type of support comes from decades of relationships, not just with all of you as we plan and collaborating with management, but from our cities to talk about safer communities and what that looks like, for our county board of supervisors and our relationships with them, working with other electeds to include folks like the sheriff and folks at parks districts and school districts. So it was really a big swell of support, and that speaks to what our men and women do day in and day out, as well as the relationship and really the reputation that 522 has in the community as part of CLC, working with the DSA, the operating engineers, so on and so forth. So, and what we see obviously is when we work together, we can do great things like get the community to support those things. At the state level, we have relationships with Senate and Assembly. We're very fortunate to have Trevor Jameson as the 3rd District Vice President with CPF. So Trevor works really closely with a number of things that are going on down at the state. And that also allowed us, we saw in there one of the projects is the Zinfandel training site, and we all went and shoveled some dirt. Well, I didn't shovel because I was on the pirate leg, but my shovel stand-in did, and Brett shoveled dirt with all of you. That was a true collaboration again, to be down there knocking on doors and asking for support. And that doesn't just happen because we showed up with a cup of coffee or a donut. That's through years of relationships. And so we'll be continuing to focus on things like working with DHCS. I myself have been on countless calls with the state as we look at cost recovery for some of the transport components that we have and working on our state plan amendments. AB 40, we've heard reports recently about how successful we've been on reducing wall times. 522 is at the front end of that. And I'm so appreciative that members of our organization like Chief or Nikki are getting the recognition that they should for helping with that and getting the BLS deployment out there. And 522 is happy to be part of that as well. So coming up, we're going to be talking about pepper reform, right? And so there's some challenges for the future of the fire service, especially when we look at the current environment and obviously our pensions come up from time to time. But when you spend time to sit down and explain to somebody, we work a 56-hour work week. And then that is 40% more than the average work week. So in a 30-year snapshot, we actually work 42 years, and we don't get time and a half until our 52nd hour, which makes us really the most cost-effective skilled workforce in this country because of the FLSA law. And you start to show what a dollar is and what an hour is and what that means to your families. I believe that our representatives will respond to that and understand the impact that that will have on public safety if we expect these young men and women to work until they're 57 years old with all of the exposure to cancer and PTSD and all that. So at the state level, we're continuing to champion that. At the federal level, we've been very active in our legislative conference ever since that started. We've built a number of relationships with Senate and Assembly members there. I mean, obviously just the relationship that we have with Army Bear's office and others there, we're so appreciative of. And working with CMS. Again, there is a strange economic and political environment taking place. And so the IFF is at the front of representing the fire service to continue to champion the support that we need at the federal level, and 522 through funneling through CPF is right in many of those meetings. So that's something that I'm personally proud of, and I think we all should be. I'm taking on some responsibility to work as the 10th District State Rep for California, which is an honor, and that will pull us into more of those meetings, as I know Sean's familiar with the impact you can have there. And so all of those things really represent where 522 is about the mission. Yes, we are focused many times on wages and benefits and working conditions, but really, especially coming out of COVID, we have focused on the mission, which is providing quality service, the highest level of service to our communities, and protecting the men and women and providing a safe work environment for them and making our communities as safe as possible. So it's not just about 2 or 3 people coming up here, which is all that sometimes you see. Fortunately, we're bringing more members up, but that the community definitely sees. It's about us being in the room because the 700 men and women at Metro Fire that are represented can't fit, and the 2,000 members, nearly 2,000 members that are part of 522 as a whole. So President Wood suggested that we put a presentation on the agenda to share with you who we are and what we do and why we do it, so that it's more comprehensive, so that the board can get updated because some things have changed, so that management also has an updated perspective on what we're doing and why we're doing it, and the community gets a good look as well. So unless there's any other questions, we're going to work on putting that presentation together, and hopefully we'll have some good interaction at that time.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that'd be fantastic.
Okay. Awesome.
Any questions from the board? No. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that takes us to committee reports. Executive committee, we had no meeting. Communication Center JPA, there's no report. That takes us to Finance and Audit Committee. Director Jones.
Thank you, Director Costa. Just an advisory that April 24th, 5:30 in these chambers is the next Finance and Audit Committee meeting.
All right. Thank you, Director. For the Policy Committee, our meeting was canceled today, so our next meeting is scheduled for May 8th. All right, board member questions and comments. Director Jones.
Thank you. Taking up the left flank here. My pleasure. I just want to tag team on one small thing. I attended a Parkway Coalition meeting of the last Friday of the month, and we had an excellent presentation from a Mr. Ed Smith, who is a graduate from our first Citizens Academy. He could not have been more positive, and the entire room of probably 24 or more people, everyone was eager to sign up for the next one. So heads up, we will have a pretty big influx of applications for our next Citizens Academy. Thank you.
Director Rice.
Contained, thank you.
All right, thank you, Director. Director Clark?
No comment.
All right, thank you. Director Stark? Thank you. Director Gould?
No comment.
All right, thank you. Director Sailors?
Thank you. I would like to say those are some awesome presentations tonight. And I do like to see the timeline of the communication for our CIP that this is putting forth. On another note, Sacramento City Fire is having a girls' camp this weekend. If anyone would like to come out and see what that looks like, it'll be at their training academy on McClellan. And other than that, stay safe. It's getting warm out there. Stay hydrated. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Weber?
I don't have any comments, but I'd like to yield my time to Chief Lundgren. If you have any information on the smoke detector blitz, are there any numbers out yet? Yes. Okay, no, that's fine. We'll get them at next meeting, I'm sure. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Director. Just want to thank everyone for their participation tonight. Great reports and presentations. A lot more to come. So thank you. And with that, we will close for a closed session. All right, we'll call this meeting back to order. So we have the closed session report out. John.
Thank you, Director Acosta. The board met in closed session for the one agenda item listed on the closed session agenda concerning the Workers' Compensation Settlement Authority for the claim of Stephen Thorns and the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District. The board voted unanimously to give settlement authority to its third-party administrator to effectuate a settlement of that claim. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And with that, we will go ahead and close out the meeting. Meeting adjourned.